One of the most common questions I get in regards to trading cards for Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, stuff like that is,
Right, I'm trying to get rich quick. What should I buy? I got all this money set aside. I'm trying to spend money today and double it tomorrow. What should I get?
to which I always say, I mean, don't enter the hobby if you're trying just to do that. I mean, you can, I'm not going to stop you, but keep in mind, you might get burned if you do that. Only get these cards if they mean something to you. You know, if you see this Feraligatr and you get the nostalgic times, you get the memories of when you were a kid playing Pokemon Silver and Gold, get the Feraligatr. If you grew up with the Charizard, if you never got to experience what it was to own a Charizard when you were younger, get the Charizard. But don't just hop into this because you're trying to flip it and get rich quick and all that stuff, because it is going to backfire on you. Today I want to talk about the PSA 9 Gold Rush. Now, for perspectives and kind of explanations first, when you get a card graded, you get a score at the top that tells you how good the quality of the card is. Basically, the higher, the better. If it says 10, guess what? You beat the game. You won. Cash out. Sell that card, buy a house. No, actually, don't do that. But basically, if you have a 10, you won. Now, when we go down the list, 9 is the next wanted. But honestly, over the course of the past couple years, nobody really cared about 9s that much. As a collector, if you're a hardcore collector, the second you see 9, you're like, I was that close from a PSA 10. So you just kind of take that 9 and you toss it aside until you get a 10. But what I noticed is, over the course of the last couple of weeks specifically, a lot of people have been hyping up 9s. And the reason why is because, well, 10s are expensive. They're way too expensive to get. You know, and again, I'm not knocking you if you are going for 8s, 9s, 7s. I want to kind of toss it out there. I'm not knocking anybody for the grades that they own. What I'm trying to say in this video is, careful what you're buying, especially if you're just trying to get into this for the investment purposes. Now, everybody's seen this. This guy right here. The English version of this as a PSA 9 has seen a massive skyrocket. Nani? At the beginning of the year, a PSA 9 of this was $200. Maybe $200 to $300. $200 to $300 for PSA 9. Now, with the PSA 10s of these Charizards, we've seen actually a skyrocket to the point where we even see $30,000 sales. And then it kind of dropped down to $16,000. Again, to explain why the prices fluctuate so much for PSA 10s is, let's say I want to buy a card, right? You know, my highest bid is 30 grand. Once I buy that card, I'm out of the market. But the next person in line that probably had the highest bid of 22,000, they buy the next one. And then the next person buys it for 20, and the next person buys 16. That's why you see prices do this. The more that are available for sale, the less the next one sells for. If only one PSA 10 Unlimited Charizard had been put on the market in the last, like, I don't know, 2 months, the price would be 30 grand. But the fact that there's so many of these 10s going around, the next person in line who has their highest bid is going to be less than the person the one before. So that's why you see the prices do this. That's why you see one sell for 30 grand and then one sold for 16 grand all in the same month. That's how that works out. But for PSA 9s, it's completely different. And the reason why is because there's so many 9s that exist for every single card. A lot of cards. Now, what we've seen is again, the PSA 9 on this was $200 to $300 earlier this year. What happened in the past month? We've seen these selling for up to $6,000 for PSA 9. The price change has been ridiculous. But what are we seeing now? We're seeing them at like 2 grand. We're seeing them in like 1,800. We're seeing basically the price crash. And again, the same factor that I mentioned with PSA 10s applies to the 9s. There's so many people trying to get a PSA 9. So when the next person in line who has their highest bid goes up and gets a card next, it's going to be sold for less. That's why you're seeing this. Now, granted, again, PSA 9 was like $300 at the beginning of the year. If it sells for like 1,800, that's still a big difference. That's still growth. You know, that's not bad. But obviously, right now, what you're seeing is the crash. And again, the reason why is because so many people are buying PSA 9s. Now, what you guys might not know, if you're new to the Pokemon market, this number right there, if you type in this number, what you can do is go to psacard.com/search/this number, or just do psacard.com/pop. You can see how many cards exist for every card that's out there. That's what these numbers are for. This certification, this serial number, is basically, it shows you that data. Right next to me, I have the numbers pulled up to give you some perspective of how many cards exist. For the Unlimited Charizard, PSA 10 English, again, not the Japanese one, but in English, there's 4,904 PSA 9s at the time you're recording this video. That's a huge number. That means 4,900, almost 5,000 exist for PSA 9s, and I've been seeing these on sale all the time. They're very, very common. If you type in PSA 9 base Charizard on eBay, I guarantee you'll always see at least a handful on sale on eBay. Now, next to it, I got the first edition version of it. There's 650 PSA 9s first editions that exist in circulation with 121 PSA 10s. Now, if you type in PSA 9 Shadowless Charizard on eBay, there's a good chance you might see maybe 1 or 2 once a month. Maybe there's a lot more going on right now because, again, the gold rush is happening, and some people are actually trying to just sell their stuff right now just because they want to make the money. However, usually, if you type in PSA 9 on eBay, you won't find it. That's why those cards are worth that much more, because they're much rarer. Again, if only one unlimited Charizard had sold in the past month, the market for these would be so much more ridiculous. But because the supply is there, the demand is there, and we get to the point where the supply is outweighing the demand, the prices are doing this. That's just how this works out. So all the people who I know in the past couple of weeks that bought Charizards PSA 9s for like 4 or 5, 6 grand are now looking at them losing money. A lot, actually, and for what they're worth now, they could have bought 3. And again, the reason why is because so many exist. Basically, the whole point of this video is if you're hopping into Pokemon and you want to basically invest, you want to just buy a piece of it. Again, I always say if you get into Pokemon, just buy it for the nostalgia. Again, if you see Feraligatr and it reminds you of those times when you were a kid playing Pokemon Gold and Silver, get it. Get a 9. But if you're buying it because you're trying to flip it, just know what's going to happen. There's a lot of these exist. You can look these numbers up. That's always tell my friends. It's like, oh, you want to get a 9 or that? I mean, you can if you want to, but just keep in mind a lot of these exist. So if you get to the point where everybody lists their PSA 9, let's say a year from now, everybody decides to list all the PSA 9s that they bought because they want to flip the money that they made from a year ago, you're going to see this. The price is just going to crash through the basement because it's already on sale. Now, something else I want to point out is do your research as well. The reason why I have Feraligatr specifically up in this video is because later sets in the Neo era, base set for example, is one of the most printed sets of all time. We already noticed. There were so many prints that came out for that set. I mean, it's obviously the most nostalgic one. It's the one that we all like kickstarted with. But sets after that, there's so many less prints in existence that were even made when the set first came out. This Feraligatr, PSA 9, can you guess how many exist? 71. This is one of 71. PSA 10, there's only 4. Now, you guys already know I pulled that Typhlosion earlier this year.
Flashback.
This is my all-time favorite set. Comment section below. Let me know what your favorite set of all time is. Oh! Oh my God. Oh, look at that centering. Ari, look at the swirl.
End of flashback.
And I have 1 of 4 PSA 10 Typhlosions. Now I know what you're thinking. To those again that are new to the market, Ryan, can't people just open more packs and pull them? Yes or no, but the thing about sets like this is if you open a pack, there's a good chance that the second you open the pack, it's going to be a PSA 8 right out the pack. Especially in the Neo era where the printing was awful. I have no idea what happened to WotC back then, but around the Neo era, Neo Genesis era sets, the centering was always bad. There was a lot of print lines. The chances of you open a card and being a PSA 9 was very, very low. So again, 71 of these exist in PSA 9, where if you take the Charizard equivalent, there is 5,000 almost. So if you're trying to basically figure out what you want to buy, in theory, let's say you are looking for something that's, I guess if you're trying to invest, let's say it that way. If you're trying to invest, go for stuff that has low pop. You know, I've been telling everybody that's been entering the market, like yeah, cool, base set is cool, but just wait until people discover the low pop world of the Neo era. Because here's the other thing. This is the other big thing. Right now, if you were to get yourself a base unlimited box, there's a good chance you can find one easily tomorrow. If you can post a tweet, you can post an Instagram photo, you will get someone that can sell you a base box like this. If you try to buy a Neo Genesis box, for example, there's a good chance you won't find it. The printing for those were so much less than they were for base unlimited. So that's like, the other thing is like, can you even find a base box or a Neo Genesis box to open more packs to potentially pull a PSA 9 or PSA 10 card of your favorite holos from Gen 2? Probably not. Can you find a base set? Yeah, easily. Again, the whole point of this video is if you're buying PSA 9s, get them only because you're nostalgic, you like the Pokemon, they remind you of something in your childhood. But if you're trying to get into the scene for investing, just keep in mind that there's going to be a lot of copies of your card. Any card that you're buying, whether it be modern day cards or the original vintage cards, always check the search numbers first so you can see how many exist and then kind of pull the trigger. Something I want to talk about right now is also modern day Pokemon. You know, like the most ridiculous thing that happened to me, that I've seen happen actually, didn't happen to me personally, that I've seen happen in the last couple years is the very first Hidden Fates Shiny Charizard sold for $10,000. The very first one, and to explain, it was the BGS 10 Black Label, which means it had 10s for everything. It was basically a unicorn. Black labels are very, very hard to get. That's why you rarely see them. If it's a black label, I have a black label, it'll say 10 up here, and it'll show you the scores will say all 10 across the board. The very first one sold for 10 grand. It is incredibly dumb to shell out crazy money for modern day cards, because you know what happens? A lot more pop up. Now, there's a small difference. If you look at Burning Shadows had terrible prints. So when they released their Burning Shadows Hyper Rare Charizard, most of the Charizards were so beat that if you pulled it, they were like 8s and 7s right out the box. That's why the PSA 10s of those, a lot less exist. There's a lot of PSA 9s, but a lot less 10s exist. But then, like, Pokemon figured it out. Over the course of the next couple sets, they figure out the printing, and usually when you pull a modern day card, unless the centering is really, really awful, it's a PSA 10. So everybody that's investing in stuff like the Shiny Charizard from Champion's Path or the Hyper Rare Charizards from Champion's Path, you're seeing the prices continue to go down. The reason why is because there's a lot of cards that exist. You can buy those packs for like $6 a pack, and if you pull it, it's a 10. You get it graded, it's going to be a 10. There is currently 1,700 PSA 10 Hidden Face Charizards in existence. 726 PSA 9s, 96 PSA 8s. That's a lot. In what, a year? That's a lot. For hidden, let's look at actually Champion's Path too. Champion's Path, for the Hyper Rare Charizard VMAX that everybody's been wanting, the one I can't pull, there's currently 1,207 PSA 10s. It's been a month and a half. It's been like a month and a half, and there's already that many. There's 1,207 PSA 10s. And for the Shiny Charizard, they are 1,081. Again, keep in mind, it's been a month and a half. A year from now, that number's gonna be 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, who knows? Basically what I'm trying to say in this video is if there's a lot of a card that exists in the pop report, there's a good chance your card won't be worth that much more a year from now. I mean, you'll see it steadily go up because, again, more and more people enter the market and more people are gonna want it, but you're not gonna see a skyrocket. And then you have cases like Neogenesis where you have Feraligatr where the PSA 9 only 71 exists in Unlimited, or the highly sought after first edition Lugia, 41 exist. That card is selling for like 65 grand right now on eBay, and it's been going up, up, and up, and up, and up. The last one sold for 50 grand about 2 weeks ago. Now we're seeing the second one sold for 65 grand plus. It's probably going to end like 70 if I can be honest with you. And the reason why you see that is because a lot less exists. If there's millions of collectors in the world, and of those millions of collectors, a good percentage are actual millionaires, they have way more money to dish out and to fight for these competitive prices. But like when thousands of cards exist, you're not going to see much growth there. So again, just kind of keep that in mind before you decide what cards you want to buy for whether it be investment purposes or because you're just very, very nostalgic about it. So yeah. If you have any questions in regards to PSA 9 cards or just in general investing or buying into like, you know, trading cards, let me know down below. You can always tweet me as well at Rhymestyle on Twitter. I'm probably a lot easier to access over there than it is over here. But just let me know any question you might have and I'll do my best to answer. And if you see anybody else who asks any questions and you know the answers to it, feel free to answer your fellow collectors down below. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video.